Hey, this is Stu Schaefer, and I'm about to explain how to fix a metabolism after the age of 40, and this is especially good in menopause. Now, really quick, what I'm about to tell you, I know because I've been working in the field with real people for the last 20 years. So what I'm about to tell you, I've actually tested, I've proven, I know it works. Anybody can reset their metabolism. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter how slow it is. You can reset it. My clients do all the time, so don't worry about it. But let's take a look at why your metabolism goes slow or gets slow to begin with. Well, there's a number of factors. It's not age. They've done plenty of studies on this. They know it's not age related. There's certain things that happen as you get older, and we're going to go over those things, but you can avoid it and you can reverse it. Now, I am going to just point out the obvious. When you're young and you're growing, a lot of times, yes, your metabolism is faster, or maybe that's not accurate. You're using a lot of energy to grow. You're getting taller, you're developing your bones, so things are growing. Well, you probably stop growing around age 16, 17, 18, so it's not like all of a sudden then your metabolism declines. So let's take a look at this. I just wanted to point that out because somebody somewhere is going to leave a comment about that. So I wanted to catch it before they do. Okay, so there's three main reasons why your metabolism is going to slow down. And if you can avoid these three things, you're going to be way better than most people. Then we're going to go over four pieces for you to actually reset your metabolism, because odds are you've already damaged it, because most people have. That's okay. So the first reason that most people's metabolism will go down is because you're restricting food or calories. This could mean you're cutting out carbs, or you're restricting calories and trying to be in some sort of a calorie deficit because you heard that that's the only way to lose weight, which it isn't. We're going to talk about that, but that is the number one reason. So what happens is over time, someone will start dieting. This may start in their 20s, may start in their 30s or later, and they'll do a diet to lose weight, but they don't do it right. They use calorie restriction to do it. And then their metabolism slows down a little bit. Then they eat, and over time they gain the weight back, then they do another diet. And so they do this repeatedly, and every time you do a diet or you restrict, what's happening is you're slowly wrecking your metabolism. And so if you look generally at most people, as they get older, they eat a little bit less and less and less and less. And if you've ever seen someone in their 80s or even their 90s, a lot of times they barely have an appetite. They barely eat anything, but yet they still have a kind of a fatty, poochy belly, but yet they've lost all their muscle, their joints and connective tissue and bones are deteriorating because they're not eating anything. Their bodies, they're not getting any nutrients. This is one of the reasons your metabolism slows down, but it's gradual, so most people don't notice it. All right, let's look at the second reason, and that is your activity declines. Generally, as a kid, you're going all over the place. You're bouncing off the walls. You're moving. You're running around. To a lot of times in grade school and middle school, high school, whatever, you're doing some sort of a sport or an activity, or you're actually active with friends. Although, geez, I don't know these days. It might be different now. But at any rate, generally, you're more active. When you're in college, you might be, doing things, actually going out, having fun, being active, walking around. Normally what happens is once you start like the typical 9-to-5 job, a person's activity declines pretty sharply. And that decline in activity will lower your metabolic rate. Also, as someone gets older, if they're dealing with injuries or things like that, again, their activity will decline. They're afraid to do things, or they hurt so much, or they're tired, and that will reduce the metabolism. Now, the third is the thyroid. Now, this can happen for a number of different reasons. Diet can cause a hypothyroid or a low thyroid function. Stress can do the same thing. Sometimes people actually have a thyroid disease or an autoimmune like Hashimoto's. At any rate, if your thyroid function declines, now this could happen by your T4 declining, T3 declining. It takes a lot more TSH to kind of activate the thyroid. There's a lot of things that can happen. But if they do happen, that will directly slow down your metabolism. Oftentimes, it'll also drop your energy, make you feel terrible. So these are the three main reasons your metabolism is going to slow down. Doesn't usually have a lot to do with your age. It has everything to do with these things, which just typically correspond with certain changes in behavior as a person gets older. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over the 4 things you can do to reverse this and reset your metabolism and crank it up like a Ferrari engine, okay? No more Volkswagen Beetle. We're going Ferrari right here. So let's look at these 4 things. They're simple. A lot of people get afraid when I mention these, but this is how you do it systematically, step by step. Number 1, you've got to stop the restriction. You've got to increase your food intake. In other words, you've got to eat more. All right, everyone always asks, well, how much should I be eating? Well, that depends, okay? If you're tracking with me, someone who's severely damaged their metabolism, they may have to start way down here and try to work their way up. Someone whose metabolism is still a bit strong, but just a little off, they might be able to start way up here and everything catches up really quick. Let me give you kind of the benchmark to shoot for. Let's say you're watching this right now and you're a woman in your mid-50s. And let's say, I don't know, you weigh somewhere around 140, 150 pounds, and you're moderately active, okay? You might exercise 3, 4, 5 times a week, but for the rest of the time, maybe you have a job and you're just not that active. How many calories should you be eating? Now, I want to make a disclaimer here. Not all calories are created equal, so don't be tracking your calories just because I said something. My clients don't track calories, but I do see what their calories come in at, and I'll give you some averages. But if all you're doing is looking at calories, you're going to be missing this whole massive, huge picture. This is not good. This is not good at all. For the typical woman that I just mentioned, to lose weight, you should be able to eat somewhere around 1,700, 1,800, maybe even upwards of 2,000 calories per day to lose weight. That's to lose weight. If you're eating somewhere down around 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, that's very, very low. That is very, very low. Something is probably wrong. Now, as a man, if a man ends up watching this, if you're not eating somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 calories a day to maintain your weight or even to create a little bit of weight loss towards the 3,000, you're doing something wrong. Now, what do I mean by something wrong? Well, look, there's 4 parts of nutrition. And there's a couple of links in the description that you can watch the videos that are associated with some of these concepts. They're right down in the description. There's what you eat. There's how much you eat. There's the timing of foods through the day. What types of foods you eat in the morning versus the afternoon versus the evening. And then there's the combination of foods at each meal. When you get these 4 pieces correct, that you can burn fat without having to restrict calories. So in other words, you're eating this amount of calories, you don't change the calories, you just change the timing, the combination, maybe some of the foods, you'll lose body fat. Now the reason that's so important is you'll be able to lose fat without hurting your metabolism, without losing muscle, without depriving your body of the nutrients that it needs, and this will prevent this from happening. So you got to do it correctly. When you do it correctly, you can increase that intake. Then you fuel your metabolism in your body, and you can reverse a slow metabolism. Now again, it depends on where you're at. There's not a one-size-fits-all, but kind of that benchmark should be upwards in the high teens or close to about 2,000 calories per day to lose weight as a woman. 3,000 to 4,000 should be sustainable as a man. Let's look at the second part, and that is you got to add the carbs back. So many people are so against this, and there's people that will leave the meanest comments to me when I talk about eating carbs, and they're like, you're a quack, you don't know what you're talking about. Look, I've been doing this 25 years. I've worked with thousands and thousands of clients in the field. I know what I'm doing. I can see the results clear as day. Yes, it's true. You do not need carbs to stay alive. But we're not talking about just creeping through life, barely hanging on here. We're talking about thriving, throwing your on switch for your metabolism. Carbs will do that. Carbs have a very high metabolic effect. They help strengthen your thyroid. They help lower cortisol. They help with energy. They help reduce cravings. And if you do it correctly, by eating the right type at the right time in the right combination, the blood sugar thing, the insulin thing is actually not an issue. Instead, you'll actually get these things right in the sweet spot so that you can build and tone muscle and lose fat at the same time. Hello, this is key to keeping your metabolism really, really strong. So you want to add back the carbs. Now, you might need to do it slowly. You have to be careful with what types you're adding back, when you eat them, and what you combine them with. This is all a little bit individualized. Again, there's never just a one-size-fits-all. You know, you've got to just stop thinking like that. You got to view food and exercise like medicine. Okay, you don't just go buy a pill off like the streets or the black market because you heard it might work, although some people do, but you shouldn't do that, okay? You need a doctor to sit down with you and assess you and look at you and figure out what you need. Well, food and exercise should be approached the same way, except they're better. There's no side effects. They're natural. Yet everyone just thinks it should be some quick fix, cookie cutter thing. It just doesn't work like that. Let's look at the third piece. We've got to increase your thyroid. Now, there's certain foods that will help your thyroid. There's certain foods that can sometimes hurt the thyroid. Omega-6 fatty acids, you know, nuts and seeds and seed oils and nut oils and things like that, generally don't help it and can actually hurt it. The number one thing that is going to help your thyroid is getting carbohydrates. However, talk about the type. Whole grains can sometimes hurt the thyroid. If you have a sensitivity to gluten, that can hurt your thyroid. So there's different types of carbs. There are whole grains, there's fruits, there's starches. So difference between a whole grain and a starch would be like rice versus a sweet potato. These will have massively different impacts on your thyroid function. So if you have a low thyroid, and you can check that really easily, I did an entire lesson on that, so check that out. You can check that really easy, but if you determine that your thyroid is a bit low, or you've gotten tested and it's low, I would initially stay away from the whole grains. I would favor the fruit and the starches. I would also make sure you're getting enough calcium. Again, a lot of people are sensitive or allergic to dairy, so that's not the best source. You might need to supplement calcium, which is a pretty good idea because the amount you should be getting each day is higher than most people get. Calcium, especially when you compare it to the phosphorus you're getting, can really help your thyroid function in a big way. So you got to take care of the thyroid. Now, here's the other part about the thyroid. It'll increase your energy. It helps with anti-aging. It's one of those parts of the body that's just absolutely critical. There's kind of three parts of the body that make things run smoothly. You've got your gut, you've got your liver, you've got your thyroid. And all three communicate with each other. They're so closely linked that if you can get ideal gut health, we've done a lesson about that, and good liver health, and good thyroid health, you are going to be in amazing shape. Plus, your metabolism is going to be so fast, you're going to feel amazing. You're going to have great anti-aging effects. It's awesome. So that's key. You got to support your thyroid. Now let's look at the last thing you should be doing, and that is movement. Okay, you've got to increase your movement. Now, view movement like anything. There is a sweet spot. You shouldn't be doing hours and hours and hours a day. That's too much. That'll crank up your stress. It'll break down your body. It'll make you fatigued. It can cause you to have cravings. So you don't want that. It's not like more is better or less is better. It's you need the right amount. If you're doing somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour of activity per day. Now, I'm not saying cardio, okay? My clients only do 30 minutes of exercise per day. I'm going to separate exercise from activity. Exercise is like a designated exercise session that you go out and do. This could be cardio, this could be weight training, Pilates, yoga, whatever. Activity is, think of it as just movement. Okay, you park your car, you walk in from the parking lot to the grocery store. That's activity. Doing laundry, that's activity. You're vacuuming, that's activity. You're just kind of walking around, that's activity. You're doing some yard work, that's activity. You want to have activity and movement for about an hour a day. Just being moving is not stressful enough to crank your cortisol and throw your hormones out of balance. But it's enough of this movement or activity that really kind of gets things burning and ramps up your body and keeps your metabolism strong and just really helps keep you young and functional. A lot of people, especially these days, they sit all the time, or they're glued to their electronic device or TV or whatever. Get up, just move around. You don't have to do exercise. You just want to be active and moving. If you do these 4 things, you're going to reset your metabolism, and you can do it really quick. My clients, a lot of them do it in 2 weeks. I think probably the longest I've seen was maybe 4 or 5 weeks, and that was with someone who had completely damaged their metabolism. So you can reset it. You can do it at any age. You've just got to put these things together, and you've got to be smart about it. Now, we're going to splash up 2 videos right now. Go watch those videos. They're going to dive deep into hormones. They're going to dive deep into nutrition. You're going to want to watch those. There's also 2 links in the description, one for a fat loss quiz, one for a fat loss masterclass. Go check those out right now. I'll see you over there, and I'll see you on the next lessons. All right, take care.